This is definitely a very personal film. How do you decide how much of your personal life to expose in this fiction film?
Well, like even, it's funny, I wish everybody could make a film like this. Because you'd see how things can be very personal and very shared at the same time. Or even like I did try to make sort of a portrait of my dad, and that largely was built out of memories. But I invite you, or anybody watching this, to try to remember some key moment in their life and really look at it like you're going to make a scene of it. And you'll see that you can't actually see that much. And the details are very fragmented, and the whole thing, you'll get how much like a dream it is, and how unreliable it really is. So even that part of the story, which I really try to get something concrete and specific about my dad, I had to address or admit how much it was my dream more than like reporting, more than like nothing objective about it. So it has a lot of facts, it has a lot of real things that happened, but at the same time it's very much a fiction by the time you turn it into scenes, by the time you turn it into script. And then there's lots of stuff that's just pure fiction. And I guess I really like that collage of all those different kinds of elements.
There is this relationship between the main character and his new girlfriend. And you also mentioned in your previous interviews that there is this need for the characters, for people to interconnect, to want to connect with each other. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, I think that connecting is the most important thing in the world. I think all my films will always be about that. And I think it's only through connections, you know, in my film it happens between the father and the son, the son and the new girl in his life, and the son and the dog. And I think it's only through other people that you really can understand yourself, or see yourself, or have your emotions, or understand your emotions. So, and I think connection isn't easy. I think there's a million ways in which we derail our relationships, and which we are afraid to really have intense, real relationships. And that's just human. There's nothing bad about that. It's just the way these animals are.
Speaking of Cosmo, the dog, I'm just curious why the constant thought on the dog's mind is, are we married yet?
Yeah. Well, yeah, so the dog says that a few times in subtitles. But what the dog appears to be saying is really just Ewan's, Oliver's conversation on top of the dog. He's projecting a conversation on top of the dog. So the dog, again, is a way for us to understand what Oliver's thinking. He's thinking, am I married yet? Am I ready yet? Is this it? Is this real? And the dog's really like a mirror for him to see himself.
What do you expect viewers to get out of this movie?
I would hope that it would be great if people met my dad, in a way, and met my dad when he came out. And what you might take away from him is he was very vital. He was very willing to risk stuff at the end of his life. He was very willing to try brand new things at the end of his life. So that hunger, that willingness to expose himself to vulnerability, if that got contagious at all, I'd feel very proud as a director.
And do you feel that he has lived a very rich life in the last 5 years of his life?
Oh yeah, I mean, guy was crazy. His schedule was amazing. The amount of parties he had, the amount of different gay organizations and groups and clubs and meetings he had, the amount of men that he reached out to with such a hunger and willingness to communicate and to share. We'd all be so lucky to have our years from 75 to almost 80 be like that. I really admire that.